Hello, Hillel Torah, and welcome to In the Footsteps of Our Fathers, the Pirkei Avot project by Rabbi Friedman. I'm Morah Mindy Reiss, and my Mishna is Aleph Aleph. The first Mishna of all of Pirkei Avot starts, Moshe kibel Torah miSinai, umsara liYehoshua, v'Yehoshua lizkenim, uzkenim lenevi'im, u'nevi'im misaruha la'Anshei Kneset haGadolah. Heim amru shlosha dvarim, Hevu mitunim badin, v'hemidu talmidim harbe, v'asu siyag laTorah. Moshe received the Torah from Har Sinai, and he gave it over to Yehoshua, and Yehoshua gave it over to the Zkenim, the elders, or the wise men, or the sages. And the Zkenim gave over the Torah to the Nevi'im, the prophets, and the prophets gave it over to the Anshei Kneset haGadolah, the men of the Great Assembly. They said three things. Be very careful in your judgment, slow to judgment, stand up or raise up many students, and put a fence around the Torah. So I have three questions that we're going to answer today. One is, why would the Mishna of Pirkei Avot, which does not come first in the entire Talmud, it's in the middle, why would it start with Moshe kibel Torah miSinai? Don't we know that Moshe got the Torah on Har Sinai? And why would it be mentioned here? Second of all, didn't the men of the Great Assembly, didn't the Anshei Kneset haGadolah say more than three things? Why does it say they said only three things? And my third question is, why is the first piece of advice given, Hevu mitunim badin? Be very careful in your judgment. So the first question, why does it say Moshe kibel Torah miSinai? Moshe got the Torah in Har Sinai in the beginning of Pirkei Avot. One answer that's given is that, what is Pirkei Avot? Pirkei Avot is a lot of different pieces of advice by our Rabbanim. And the pieces of advice are very nice and very wonderful ways of interacting with other people and living a happy life and making sure that the people around us live a happy and good life. But we might think that it's just good advice. We might not realize that it's Torah miSinai. So the Mishnah starts out by saying, this is Torah miSinai. Just like all the rest of the parts of the Torah, just like it's so important to light Shabbat candles, and just like it's so important to take lulav and etrog and all the things that are in the Torah, keeping kosher, Shabbat, all those things, this too, our relationships with ourselves and other people, our parents and our friends and our teachers and all the people that we meet, that is just as important as all the other things that are in the Torah. This was also given on Har Sinai, and it was transmitted from Moshe to Yehoshua to the Zkenim and so on all the way down, and then the people who got it gave these pieces of wisdom to us. And we have to take it just as seriously as any other part of the Torah. And it will help us in ways that are so powerful and immeasurable. And the second question I have is, didn't the Anshei Kneset haGadolah say more than three things? There were 120 of them at a time. So I'm sure they said more than three. So in order to illustrate the answer to this, I'll tell a story that happened to me a few years ago. I was at a rabbinical conference with my husband, and every year at the rabbinical conference, they give out a gift to the rabbis. And that year, they gave a gift of a book called Talk Like Ted by Carmen Gallo. And Carmen Gallo, the author, was the speaker, one of the speakers that year at the conference. And his speech and the book is about how to give a very good speech. And the goal was to tell the rabbis how to give very interesting talks, because he's an expert. And he wrote a book called Talk Like Ted. TED Talks are these very famous and popular talks that are on, you can listen to them on the internet. They're about all different kinds of topics, and they are listened to by thousands and thousands of people, and even sometimes millions. And they all have certain things in common, which Carmen Gallo was trying to explain to the rabbis. So I thought that was very funny that Carmen Gallo was giving the rabbis tricks, when if you look at Pirkei Avot, it seems like they really have all the tricks already back then. And I'll give you one example. and it already starts in our Mishnah, in the first Mishnah. One of his chapters is called the magic number 3. And he says that when you're giving a speech, people can't incorporate, they can't listen or understand more than a certain amount of information. If it's too much, they're just going to lose attention and they're not going to be able to remember all the things that you're trying to say. But if you boil it down to 3, if you make 3 points, then people can remember and incorporate those 3 points. So the rabbis in Pirkei Avot already knew the magic number 3, and in many Mishnayot you're going to see it says this Rav said 3 things. Hillel Omer Shlosha Dvarim. He didn't only say 3 things. In fact, in the next Mishnah you're going to see in many Mishnayot after the Mishnah about Hillel appears many times, and in each one he said 3 things. So this is a secret that Pirkei Avot already knew, that you present 3 at a time. And then the third question I have is, why did all of Pirkei Avot start with the piece of advice, Hevu mitunim badin? Be very deliberate and careful and slow to judging. Don't jump to judge things and people and situations. So I would like to interpret this piece of advice as being the first, as showing that in our relationships with other people, that one of the most important and first thing that we have to do and incorporate into our midot is not to jump to judge others, not to rush to judge the other situations, because we don't know the full story. Just to give you an example, a few years ago when I was teaching a 3rd grade, a girl in the front row dropped her eraser, and a boy who was sitting near her bent down to pick it up to return it to her. But when she saw him bending down to pick it up, she thought that he was taking it, and she quickly, without stopping and slowing down to judge, she quickly started screaming out, "Hey, he's stealing my eraser!" in front of the whole class. And the boy almost started crying because he really was picking it up to return it to her. And she didn't do Hevu mitunim badin. Be slow to judging. Think about it. Think of the way that you would want other people to judge you in any situation. And that's the way that we should judge other people, and not be so quick to judge, because we never really know what's going on behind the scenes. And that's the beginning and most fundamental way to have a good relationship with other people.